folks, this is Dane at JONAH Guitars. So this guitar that I'm doing a neck reset on, the Vire guitar, lost the footage or didn't hit play or record or whatever, something. I don't have it, so I did a neck reset on this guitar. It was I think I mentioned it in the previous video anyway, it's just a mortise tenon bolt-on neck type joint, but they glued the tenon in and bolted it. So when I took the bolts off, I was going to just pry the neck up a little bit or flex it up a little bit and floss it and set it that way. A lot quicker, a lot simpler than pulling the neck out, taking the fretboard extension off, all that stuff. So anyway, I had ordered, I've always used steam in the past with a steam needle and a pressure cooker, and I decided to try the hot wire foam cutters. And I've got it here, I'll show it to you on the phone. It just says Hot Wire Foam Factory, number 3680. I got two of these. I first saw Ted Woodford using a system that he saw Ian Hates Guitars using, which is basically a transformer and a certain kind of wire that becomes the heating element down in the hole. Anyway, that was a little sketchy, and Ted eventually, and I believe Ian also eventually went to this style, and they've had good success with them. So I thought I'd give it a try. I didn't want to try the homemade wire thing myself. I didn't want to get all the steam equipment out just for what should be a fairly easy removal. So this comes with the power supply, and the lead is separate for the iron, and it just plugs in the wall, plugs into there. You even have an on-off switch on the unit. They get hot very rapidly. Unfortunately, I lost all of the footage, or I never recorded it. I don't know which was which. I was going through my files and I could not find anything that resembled me pulling the neck off. Anyway, it worked out really nice in the end. I ended up letting them preheat in the holes a bit, and then I pulled them out and just put in a pipette. I have these little pipettes. So, just a tube of water basically down each hole, and then reinserting the wires, and they sizzled and created steam, and the neck started just wiggling it, and it came out quite easily. So anyway, that's a long intro to what happened and why I don't have footage. And so hope you stick around for the rest of the video. Take care. Hi folks. I needed to lower the slot and widen the slot. I had this file on this saddle on hand, and it was a little wider than the existing slot, and the existing slot was a little crooked anyway. So I taped it onto this little chunk of wood here, paralleled the slot to the face of the wood or to the face of the fencer, and then dropped the bit in, and anyways, taped it down, dropped the bit down to where I needed it, and then ran it along the edge of the fence here. And then to widen the slot out, I just added masking tape in between the fence and the guide block, and then I needed another, so 5 thousandths of whack. I just pushed it out, got another 10 thousandths on the slot. And I will clean up the bottom of this slot with my little nut file I cut off, so I can get into saddle slots with it. The heater's probably way too loud for the background. I roughed out the nut and then taped it in place, glued it and taped it in place. I don't use a lot of glue. There's no reason to put a lot of glue on a nut. And I put it on the fretboard edge, so it glues to the fretboard, because if you have to knock it out, you're not going to get any tear out of the end grain on the fretboard. And this is fits really good that way. I've already sanded any of the surfaces up to like 400 that need to be. I'll tape it all off when I'm done and sand it out with 6 through 1000 or better. Excuse me. I just happen to have this laying here And I thought I would just mention it briefly. This is the we call it half pencil. I've seen people plane them all the way exactly in half. Like I just put it up against a disc sander and shave it to where this, I got half of the center on the lead there. And I got enough to cover at least 3 frets when I slide up here. And that just gives me the string line as I go across there. And so I leave enough above that line to get my slots into. Right now, all my slots are pretty much right to the line, just a fuzz above. That's a fractional term, fuzz. If it was wider, it would be a couple fuzzes. Anyway, but it's just a fuzz. So got the I just glued up in the last bit. Just popping these out of there. It has been overnight and into the next day. Some it's Sunday afternoon. Go ahead and peel this off of here. If I do have, like I think I mentioned, I had a couple chips in the side of the neck heel here that I will touch up, and if I need to, put a little urethane right here at the joint just to keep that kind of sealed in that area. I do need to put the fret back in, and then since I have the nut roughed in, I'm at a point where I can do the set the bridge. I will not hammer the fret in on here. I'll just take it over to the bench and set it on something solid when I put the fret back in. Just telling you what I'm going to do because I'm probably not going to film all of that. I should say record. So the fret's going to go back in. I'm going to get that jig I showed you set up so that I can put strings through it and run them over the bridge and the new saddle and the E-strings and tighten them up to pitch, and then get my intonation set just perfectly. Then I will make a mark here where the saddle needs to be and trace the back of the saddle as well, and then cut that finish out so I have a good gluing surface. I probably shouldn't be making noise while I'm talking either. So trace the saddle and chip the scrape the finish off and sand that so I have a good gluing surface for the bridge. Once I get set up to where I'm doing the intonation, I'll bring you back in so you can see that that part of it. It's not complicated. Some of you might find it fascinating. This is going to get a level. There's no reason to just try to spot level this, especially because some of these things are really drastic. And I tried hammering them in. That's if I was to put a feeler gauge under that, that's going to be like 8 thousandths, you know, on that one. And that's a lot because if you've ever checked it out, when you fret a note, if you have less than 5 thousandths between the fret and the string on the next fret, you're going to have a rattle. I discovered this the hard way. Anyway, I've also learned that when I'm chasing buzzes, if I, this one's even worse, when I'm chasing buzzes, I get my 5 thousandths feeler gauge out and I start fretting up the neck, and I can tell when I get to that 5 thousandths mark, that's my problem. Some of them you don't hear as well. See, there's nothing there because both of these are high. Anyway, this is going to take some leveling because these are pretty high, so I'm going to take probably 5 thousandths or so off of these, maybe a little more. These were definitely put in with a hammer rather than a press. Did all the leveling and crowning and polishing. You might notice that's off. I started to level the board, and I thought, well, you know, I shouldn't have glued that nut in there, especially if I had known I was going to level them, which I didn't think I was going to have to. But I didn't think it was as bad as it turned out to be. So anyway, I'll just have to re-glue that. But I was being careful, and then I just tapped it too hard. That's just to show you how little glue I put in there. It doesn't need a lot, just enough to keep it from being able to be pulled one way or the other with the string tension. If the nut is cut properly, you usually don't have that problem anyway. Went ahead and got the nut re-glued, let it set a bit. Put a bolt through here to hold this temporary trapeze, basically, on here. And got this tuned up just to ease. It doesn't have to be ease. It could be D's. but no reason not to bring it up to pitch. And just curious, yeah, without all the string tension on it right now, I'm at 5/64 over here and 3/64 on the east side. So I'll be shaving this down a bit, just a little bit, because once I have all the string tension on, it's going to pull that up more. So I probably could have taken some more out of that. I don't know what my nut relationship is here yet. Yeah, it's got to come down a little bit. All right, so I could do this in the playing position. Probably will once I get it. Gotta stop talking. So I'm a little sharp on the fatty. Okay, and about 5 cents on that one. So I'm going to go ahead and push this bridge back a little bit. It's probably could have been lived with. I've seen a lot of acoustic guitars farther out than that are on the spendy side. Now that's a little on the flat side now, so I've got to come back a fuzz. Pretty good right there. I think what I will do is I'm going to go with the high E. I'm not going to worry about the amount of flat I was on that low E. Actually, it's perfect right now, so we're good. All right, so basically I got into fat 16th on that, so wasn't that far out, but far enough that I'm glad I pulled the bridge off of here. So I'm just going to write a line across here, or actually I'll probably just stick a piece of tape across there, trace the rest of this, and then cut the tape out and cut the finish and, you know, get the bridge glued on. I'm happy. I haven't mentioned this before, but I have a series of holes through the top. They're going to have to be plugged. So I'm going to go ahead and cut plugs for those, plug all those 6 holes, plug the wire hole, the piezo was going through, and then glue the thing on and re-drill everything. So set up here this little temporary trapeze to hold the strings, so we can just have the actual saddle in there at about the right height, very close to the right height, and then you know, adjust accordingly. So now I know I've got a perfect alignment there. Got the bridge glued on, and as you can see, I used this aluminum angle and my homemade clamps. They work pretty good, but they're a little bulky. I may look into getting some others. But so put these Allen head screws through the aluminum to help spread the pressure out over to the wings. A piece of rubber under there with the wedge. Alright, so there we got. Put the bridge on. All I gotta do now is re-drill the holes here. Oh, I don't know if I did a video on it or not, or if I mentioned it before, but I plugged the holes in the top, and then I plugged this hole going through here. So I'll be re-drilling these holes, and then also drilling the wire hole for the piezo. And I've got that thing over here somewhere. Told you this thing was kind of mangled. You can see that this wire on top is separated from the rest of the pickup. And the one in the other guitar was the braid that goes all the way through and then actually dies down in a little hole. And it wasn't installed properly on the other guitar. I had to drill the hole on this end and put it in. But anyway, this had electrical tape mashed on it and all kinds of stuff. And I think it'll still work. I'm hoping it'll still work once the bridge is sitting on it, or the saddle rather. And since I widened the bridge, it fits in here just fine. It was too tight before. Alrighty, so got the correct drill, which should be 3/16. Just gonna go ahead and go on in with that. Now I've got glue. I've also got a blocks taped under here from when I glued it down. So I'm just gonna put some pressure on those. Yeah, definitely hit the block. And then for the pickup, it's floating into the old hole. Let me double check this. See, I definitely hit the block. And the tape stayed on the block, so I don't have to go looking for it in here. Holes feel pretty good. I'm going to get into there with a little block and sand them anyway. And I'm not sure if you can see it in this, how well you can see it in the camera, but I've got some finish touch-up to do right here, which it wouldn't be a big deal even if I didn't do it, but I'm going to do it. I've got some dark spots there. I'm going to sand. There's like a little ledge there. I'm going to sand that a little bit, and then probably put some amber shellac on it first, just to bring the color into this color, because you can see how white it is. And then I'll just do a little brush some urethane in there and see if I can get that to lay down nice. I'm going to chamfer these holes, fit the pins, and then I'm going to string it up. Okay, folks, to finish up on the Vire. I was going to say Vire. Maybe it is Vire. I don't know. Got the got strung up. Got it. Well, what all? Got the truss rod adjusted. Got all the electronics put back in it. Anyway, so this had a neck reset, had a new net, new saddle, bridge taken off and relocated. I guess that's it. Yep. So, not a bad sounding guitar. It's right, it's a fat 4/64 on the fat E and slightly under on the E string, the high E string. And then it graduates as you go across the frets here. Oh, I did a fret level crown and polish on this as well. Did I say that? I'm not sure. Anyway, so it plays very nicely. I got the nut filed in, you know, I rough cut it originally, so it's filed in, and it's very nice to play other than the width of the neck. Some people like wide neck, so can't bend that. So there it is. Yeah, the Vire complete. It's going to go back to its owner, and he's gonna be happy. He said he'd much rather just spend money on the guitar he's got than go out and get another one. So he got 2 guitars for way less than the price of one. Okay, that's it, guys and gals. Take care, and you know, hit all the giddies. Comment, say hi, say it's terrible, whatever. Just communicate. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know how to play. All right. Adios.